Yo guys, it's Burrito today, back again with another episode of Yapping. Um and I wanted to give my consensus on beans. I was thinking about this video. I was contemplating if I should do some elaborate, but I'm gonna do what I do best, and that is talk. And we are gonna talk a little bit about beans, obviously not go too long. But beans this year, to put it lightly, has been very, very underwhelming. As we sit here and we look at his statistics for the overall season, sitting on a 0.99, just underneath my average of what you need to be a top AR in this game. And I'm gonna go a little bit in on Beans because I'm very high on him. I'm not gonna say I was like I completely gave up on him, but I've been very high on Beans ever since he came into the league. I noticed there's just something. I just noticed there was a talent there. I noticed like this guy shoots a little bit straighter than most. Like this guy got some gunning. This guy got some game knowledge. Like he's like a different kind of player. And I knew if he just had the right reps and the right team around him, we would get the best out of him. But this year, I have to say it has been quite a disappointment. And before I get into the ultra thing, I just want to just paint the picture a little bit. Just paint the picture a little bit. I'm not going to go through a history lesson. I'm not a historian. But just for those of you who don't know Beans' history, so we start off in Vanguard underneath the Ultra Academy, as you can see here. And then he went into the Boston Academy into MW2 and then came in at Major 3 qualifiers to the starting roster on Boston Breach. Played the whole year there, had some good performances, had a takeover event against, or had a takeover couple series, first against Optic, then against another team, and then they lost, and then back into challengers for MW3, and then got into Boston once again around Major 3, gets into the starting roster. So basically, carbon copies of years, Boston Breach, and then he was on MW3. And then he's on Carolina for the Esports World Cup. Completely forgot about that. I'm not going to lie. Completely forgot about that. And I thought he was going to do great there, but didn't do much there. And then coming into Black Ops 6, this is his first time starting on a team. And boy, what a team that he was able to start on. And to say that this is a disappointment is an understatement, because I think it's actually even worse than that. So something I want to talk about is how this isn't an unfair criticism, because granted, back-to-back years, he came in halfway through the season. He did have league experience. He did have multiple events, multiple qualifiers to get like his feet under him, you know? He had multiple reps to just gain experience, gain composure at the pro level and everything. And then he went to Esports World Cup with Carolina. So he's had years of experience going from challengers, going to the pro scene. So he's had the reps. So it's not like he's coming into like this great team of Toronto Ultra and Black Ops 6 with no experience. He's coming with experience and a lot of big games. He's experienced losses. He's experienced great wins. So he has some stuff under his belt in like the short 2 years that he had before going to his third year Black Ops 6. And something I want to say is I believe I was very wrong, because I remember going into this Black Ops 6 season, I was thinking Beans is going to slot right in just like Scrap did, right in that same role. I obviously knew Beans wasn't as fast as Scrap was. Scrap fucking moves with the AR. He's challenging everything. And Beans is a little bit more methodical. And I think that's something that has really hindered him in this game, because in the previous titles, MW3, MW2, where the game was not as fast paced, a lot slower paced, and ARs were required to be a lot slower, that really benefited his methodical playstyle. I'm not saying he's super slow. Like, he actually is still, like he's not slow at all. He's not inside slow at all. Like, he's a decent mover on the map. Like, I'm not saying he's slow, but he has a lot more methodical, like, he puts a lot more thought. He does take some routes, like, you know, he does play for support. Like, he's a lot more methodical of a player as opposed to just score up and shoot. Like, he's not as much that as he is more a methodical player. And in the MW2, MW3 seasons, I feel like that benefited just because of the way the game was played. But in Black Ops 6, man, this game, I mean, we've heard it over and over. This is a fast-paced game. Obviously, there is thought. Even though this is a brain-dead game, there's still a lot of thought in Black Ops 6. Like, don't get me wrong. But when you already have players like Insight on your team who are basically... like, those are the players that are doing what you're trying to do. And I know everyone has, like, a role in the team depending on where they spawn. Like, you know, everyone got to play for spawns if they're in a position like that. I'm not saying anything like that. But there did need to be a lot more directness in his gameplay. And I feel like that would have benefited the team and his overall performance a lot better. Like, he is a fucking shooter. Like, that's one of the things that really caught my eye about Beans in MW2, MW3. I was like, this guy has got, like, this guy shoots straight. Like, this guy's winning some gunfights that I'm like, not everybody can win those. And I was thinking, now, and this is why I feel like this season has been a disappointment. Obviously, who knows, they could win champs, probably, most likely not. Like, it's Atlanta FaZe or LA Thieves. Even though I think Atlanta FaZe or LA Thieves, I think one of those teams is probably going to, like, blunder. But, I mean, we'll get into that in another video. But I think with the years of experience he's had under his belt, now finally like, you could not write a better scenario for Beans to come into. And that's why I thought at the beginning of the year, this guy was going to really show everybody what he was capable of. That's something everyone's been doubting in his, like, yes, he's been in some shit situations on Boston back-to-back years, but now he finally has a situation to prove the type of player that he is. And boy, did he have the players around him to set him up. He had two pretty much selfless SMGs who are engagement fiends. And then he had a main AR and Insight who has no problem playing for spawns, playing slower, setting his team up, making his team look better. This guy had every piece in the puzzle to shine. Like, he literally had probably the best scenario that you could get. And not only just that, but the chemistry with Kleenex and Insight, fellow Europeans, and then Joe Deceives, a fucking S-tier SMG. Not only that, but also like a pretty much almost S-tier SMG in Kleenex as well. And then Insight, like the brains behind the operation. So he had the cam, he had the comfortability, a lot of EU presence in that ultra camp all around. Like, he had every piece to become a star player this year. And boy, did he let me down, let himself down, and let everyone else. And I don't even care about the visa thing in, like, the Major 3. Like, that doesn't even matter. Granted, that was a point in Ultra's season where they were, like, in peak form. And they were going into that tournament, Major 3, with so much momentum, so much confidence. And then it just got blundered. So who knows what would have happened. I don't think, like, I've seen it before where a lot of teams show up with, like, a lot of momentum. And then, like, they just end up fucking losing anyway, you know? And also, the fact that Merc came into this team on no practice, like, if he had S&D reps under him, like, oh my god, they probably could have made it to grand finals, to be honest. But for Merc to come in and outshine him in the KD and slang department, and not only just that, but also OBG per 10. Like, take a look at their stats. Granted, this is only from one LAN compared to Beans' whole entire season, but, dude, this is very telling. A 1.08 on Merc compared to a 0.97 on Beans respawn KD. You can see the overall KD at 1.08 to a 0.99. Slayer rating 87 to 83. Hardpoint, an 80 OBJ per 10 compared to Beans' 61.99. Basically like a fucking 62. So Merc basically does everything better, hops on the hill more, and just helps the team a lot better. You could say Merc's engagements are down, but I would attribute that to being on the OBJ a lot more. But yeah, this year has been a letdown for Beans, and we're just going to go through some statistics because I want to compare the statistics of his to some other people in the league, and then we're just going to yap as we go through an Optic Ultra gameplay, not going too much into the analysis of that. But so overall in hardpoint for the whole year, 0.98, just not good enough for like the team around you and what was expected. Like, I expected at least a 1.05, if not a 1.10. I know a 1.10 is more to the higher end of the league, um, but boy, did he have the pieces around him, dude. Like, and it just makes me wonder, if you can't do it with this team, with these players, how are you gonna fare in another team that isn't like Atlanta FaZe or all like these? Because you're not getting onto any of those teams. So like, how are you gonna fare? You're not gonna get onto Optic either. So if you can't do it with this team, and let's say this team drops you because they feel like they could get someone better. So let's say like Ultra's like, hey, like let's drop Beans. Let's see if we could upgrade in like that second AR position. If you can't succeed on this team, what other team could you possibly succeed on? You have Kleenex, Insight, Jodeci's, a selfless team around you with a good structure, a good system, and you still can't perform to levels that were expected of you. I kind of feel like that's a letdown. That's a really big letdown. Like, going on a rocker, like, if you can't do it on this team, how are you going to do it on a rocker unless you're hard baiting like the whole team? But yeah, your KD is going to look better, but you're not going to be doing anything. And that's the whole point, is trying to win, you know? So 0.98 in hard point. S&D was his one shining thing. Like, they even talked about how he was like the shot caller in S&D like a lot of the time. So great S&D player, like that's good, but not doing it in the respawns like at all. Not doing the respawns at all, and just not good. So we're gonna compare. I want to compare this to Ghosty. Granted, Ghosty's on LA Thieves, like a way better team. You know, they dominate a lot more of their games, but Ghosty's in like, you could say like the bitch role of the team, where he's on the OBJ more, taking more of like that passive role, allowing the other players like to go do their thing. So even if we compare it like to Ghosty, Ghosty has a 1.04. And basically almost has the exact same Slayer rating as Beans, with the players around him. He has Hydra and Scrap putting up 95s, 94s, basically stealing all of his kills, and Envoy with the 86, and he's still averaging at 82.66. Beans with an 83.52. Like, not even any different, like, in terms of engagements. I mean, obviously you can compare their engagements per 10. So a 48 to a Ghosty's 46, and he has an 82 OVJ per 10 to a 61. So I mean, he's just doing way better and has more, and basically not more damage. Okay, he doesn't have more damage, but dude, you know. And then even in S&D, I'm not really gonna compare S&D because yeah, fucking Beans is a great S&D player, but even compare like Control, but LAT is a very good Control team, so that's kind of an unfair metric. But is it really unfair? Because Ultra talks about teams like this being the teams that they want to be in the same conversation with. So if you can't compare to them, then like you're just like not, like you're just not there, you know? You're just not there. You're just not on that level, and you're not going to be on that level. So now we compare Beans to a player like Nasty, and Nasty's not even a Slayer at all. But Nasty has a 1.02 compared to Beans' 0.99. And he has an 81.96, like basically around the same Slayer rating. Respawn KD at 1.03. Granted, I mean, but these are even keeled teams. I can't even say Vancouver plays fucking better like Respawn them. They're basically almost the exact same Respawn team. A 44 and 31 to a 46 and 29. Like, you know, basically pretty much the exact same statistics except for Control, which is a bit better Control. But for them to basically have a better Respawn thing, and then like fucking Nasty still basically performs better than them statistically, and he has a 1.07 in hardpoint. Like, how is this guy averaging better than Beans? He even has better kills per 10, and he's not the main AR. He's in the exact same role that fucking Beans is in, you know? So, like, you know, exact same OBJ per 10 as Beans, engagements pretty much the exact same. Like, if you're not outperforming like a player like Nasty, it's no disrespect to Nasty because I'm very high on Nasty, then I mean, you're just not meant to be like a superstar in the league. I don't know exactly what Beans' aspirations are. I mean, I guess I could throw that. I don't know exactly what his aspirations are, but I mean, it must not be to be like a star player, because clearly he's not performing in like that regard. So the fact that Nasty has like pretty much better statistics. So now we're gonna pull up MW3. So like we basically have Beans' overall. I'm even gonna try to like I'm gonna try to pull it up right here. I'm able to do like per season because that'd be great. Wait, I want to see what happens if I go on Beans for this season. If it actually pulls up his MW3. I think this is, no, it's not MW3. No, it's not. Okay. All right, so now we're going to compare his Black Ops 6 to his MW3. So in MW3, he averaged a 1.01 on the season. Granted, he came in at Major 3. Like, take that into account. A 79 Slayer rating, like, compared to his 83. So an improvement there. Higher engagements, obviously. And then hardpoint KD 1.04. Good, you know. And then we're going to move over here. Going to do S&D KD. Let's see his S&D KD. An 0.3 last year. Jeez. Oh my god. And then 1.04 in control. So not really a super improvement from the last year. And I mean for any AR, especially since he's in a top team. And you're basically, and if you're in a top team, you're basically playing against the teams below you more than you're playing against the teams above you. Like, if you think about it, just Optic, LA Thieves, and FaZe are quote-unquote higher than you in your mind. So you're basically playing 75% of your matches against everyone else in the league. Granted, like, Vancouver's up there too, so you could throw Vancouver in there too. And Miami proved to be up there. But that's still around a team that you fucking want to beat. Just because Miami's good doesn't mean, like, oh, yeah, oh, we're playing Miami. It's okay, you know? Can't use that. So for him to not make that much of an improvement from last year, I mean, it's very telling. And I just feel like I'm so let down because I expected so much from him and he just did not come through this year. And I'm curious to know what you guys think, if Beans has been a disappointment this year and what he can do. Because clearly his S&D is good, but his control and his hard point is not at the levels. Granted, we are playing a different game. I feel in this game just need to be a bit more faster, a little bit more decisive. If you have Beans, Joe, and Kleenex all sprinting at you, all playing selflessly for the hill, bro, you could get. If you have 3 of those fucking demons running around and then Insight, the guy just fucking putting the ribbon on the fucking, you know, that could be a dangerous team. But when you have 2 like methodical ARs and you have fucking 2 SMGs like fucking going all out, that just doesn't mesh, you know? You don't need 2 methodical ARs. You need 1 methodical-ish AR and then you need a scrap. That's why Scrap did so well in this team. And you could even like compare. So this is MW3. So this is Scrap when he was on Ultra. He had a 1.16, 88 Slayer rating, a 1.16 in hardpoint, a 1.06 in S&D, and a 1.20 in control. So this was last year, by the way. And his OBJ per 10 was extremely low, but that's the roles. Like, why didn't Beans take on more of a role? Because you basically had Kleenex and Joe who were basically hopping on the hill all the time. I mean, obviously, whenever one of them was off on the hill, the other guy was out there roaming. So why couldn't you be like more like kill oriented and like make the job easier of everyone else on your team, like how Scrap did in Ultra? Like, that seemed to work for them. And I think they kind of need to do that with Beans a little bit more. Maybe that they could have gotten better results. And Beans is way better at S&D than Scrap too. So, I mean, they could have been a way better team. But I don't know. I mean, they did kind of choke a lot, but that's because they lacked a lot of firepower. Like, there's a lot of times where Joe's like the win condition on the team. I expected, like, obviously Kleenex as well, but I expected Beans to be in that conversation of being like a hard carry in like some of the series. Like when you don't have Kleenex or Joe going hard, dropping over 100 kills in a series, that's when Beans should be stepping up. Beans shouldn't be a role play. Like, Beans shouldn't be like a side piece, you know? Like, I expect more out of Beans. Like, that's what I expect out of Beans. But I would love to like know what their thought process is on how or what he expected of himself or what type of player he thinks he is, because that would really help. I gotta start interviewing some of these pros, I'm not gonna lie. But now we're just gonna like talk over Beans a little bit more while just watching this Optic Texas Ultra gameplay, I guess. Alright, yeah, so I'm gonna be holding the mic here while I talk about some stuff as like this game's going on. Close our conversation about Beans. So the reason why I'm even like choosing this gameplay, obviously I'm not gonna super break it down because I don't want this to be another hour video, but the past 2 times Ultra played Optic on this map, they've lost. Granted, it's only 2 times, but feels a map that they can't get a hang of when playing Optic. Haven't played them on it since like the Major 2 qualifiers, and like that's when like they smacked them on it. And I think a lot of it comes down to like the P4 rotations and just like lack of aggression from players like Beans. And I mean, right here, Fuckshots is playing like a great spot. But I'm gonna talk about some stuff, and then if I see some gameplay in between that I'm gonna point out, I'll point out. But I'm thinking if Beans does not perform this year, like, so there's some things that can happen here. If Beans doesn't perform at champs and like they don't have a good placing and they just kind of go at average there, I don't know why Beans wasn't premium that either. I was already thinking about potential replacements because, so there's some asterisks here. Another asterisk is that Joe Deceives is basically like the best SMG outside of Atlanta FaZe, LA Thieves, and I guess you want to say Optic. He is literally like the next best SMG outside like the top 2 teams. Like overall from like a gameplay standpoint, everything he brings to the table standpoint, he is like a top SMG. So I'm thinking there's a possibility he could get upgraded onto an Optic. Obviously he can't go to FaZe unless one of the Tiny Terrors breaks up, which I think it would be better for their careers, but I mean that's a whole other fuck video entirely. And obviously LA Thieves, unless they decide to drop Envoy. Dude, if they had Hydra and fucking Joe, dude, they could run some worlds, but that's no disrespect to Envoy. But outside of those teams, like let's say Joe goes to Optic, that means you have to also fill an SMG spot. I think the Inside and Kleenex duo is a good duo. Like they're a top duo with like top placings outside everybody else, and I can't see them playing without each other. Like that might just be like a lifelong duo, honestly. And so let's talk, for example, if Joe stays on the team. If he decides, okay, guys, I'll give you guys one more shot, but we got to get rid of Beans. We need some more kills on this damn map, bro. Because now they solved the SMG problem. Now the SMG duo that they have, like, that's enough kills, even if one of them isn't performing. But what really needs a bolstering is a faster, more aggressive AR. Someone that's more consistent in the kill department. So I wrote some names down here. Do with them what you will. But I try to also sort of take into account S&D. S&D may take a hit with some of these names, but it's honestly more about the respawn. Like, alright, so I wasn't doing much gameplay breakdown. I was more just talking about other stuff, but I am going to point out this one thing. This is a super duper scam. Because granted, he dies right here and he spawns on P2, but what he essentially does in this situation, I'm talking about Beans, by the way, if you can't see him on the screen in still photo, he gives up control of like the back of P2, which allows Optic to flood. So even though he spawns on the hill, they have no control. They have no map control at all. So they just get flooded on, and then they end up fucking all dying and they all spawn out. So I don't know why with 5 seconds left he was like actually hard challing, hard peeking, playing for this kill. He should just be playing like an entry door over there, or just playing in the back waiting for people to come through and just getting easy kills that way. There was a lot of times in this map where, I mean, you'll even see it, he's doing a lot of dumb chows, like a lot of dumb chows. It's almost like he wasn't like all there. It's like he was something in his head or something. He was just not all there, playing a little bit differently. I don't even know. He's like fucking tweaking, but yeah. So we're going back to gameplay. They got some good S&D players, and S&D is pretty easy to like adjust to. Honestly, you have to be a really terrible player not to know how to play S&D. But obviously, first name on the list is fucking Dante. Is fucking Sib, because Cloud9 has no problem selling apparently, and I think Dante needs to realize he's not meant to be like the star player on a team. Or, I mean, he's not meant to have like the fucking keys to a kingdom. He's just meant to join a really good system. Talks about systems all the time. Well, he'll be joining him with a good system with an AR and players around him that allow him to actually not be on the objective less and just focus more on kills, which Dante is very good at getting. And Dante is also not bad at S&D at all. So I think from a respawn objective, they'd get more consistent kills in the slaying department. Have one thing about Dante is I don't think he's like super quick on the map, but he is a damage dealer, just like Beans is, and he's even more of a damage dealer than Beans. And if you have an AR who's like, I wish like if we get second half of the year MW3 Dante in this Ultra team with these three players, bro, they could be a problem. They could win some championships. I was even thinking, like, even if Ultra kept the same team, like, from last year, dude, if they had Scrap Envoy inside Kleenex, they probably would have won some shit, you know? Even if they dropped Envoy and had Joe, Joe, Kleenex, Scrap Insight, they would definitely win some shit in this game, like, holy fuck. But, I mean, all that's hindsight, obviously. But another name I have on there is Geo. Like, also very good S&D player. More consistent kills. I mean, very good at getting kills. A very talented AR. You put him in a better environment to see how he does. Because we like to talk about people with fucking better environments. You give him an upgrade. Maybe you actually get a way better player out of him. Like, I could actually see that. That would be a pretty good upgrade from Beans. I mean, I didn't even think I'd be having to have this conversation about upgrading from fucking Beans, because I expected Beans to be a way better player than he showed, but that is what it is. Another person, hear me out, a Diamond Con. I know ever since, like, you know, ever since he's, like, not been in the league last, you know, may have been coasting. But I know there's a player under there. I remember seeing him in Cold War, and the way he was fucking shooting on that second AR, fucking next to Clay and NYSL, I was like, dude, this guy is a fucking shooter, dude. If you put this guy on a good team, he was on LAG, last time he was in the league, so not really that great. But you throw him in that team, interesting, you know? Very interesting. I'm actually not even going over the gameplay, but I mean, like, you could watch it. It's on in the back. Who cares? Another name, Cobra, who actually proved to be a lot better this year. Granted, he was playing EU Challengers, but he was putting up like a 1.2 in hardpoint, which is very good. Some I like to look at when I think about AR Slayers is, are they doing it in Challengers? Even Merc, when he was in Challengers, had like a 1.13 in hardpoint, and he was like a 1.1 overall. So, have to be able to slay in Challengers. So, and he's also an EU player as well, like, you know, maybe some chem, even though he's from France. And he likes to play for kills anyway, so this would be fucking setting him up. Another person, Fire 40, hear me out. Obviously, we know the stint he had in Cold War. Let's not judge him. Proved to improve drastically this year, and I think he's a player that's hungry to succeed. Like, I heard him on stream one time. I'm not going to go so much into it, man. I might put in a different video, but at the time where Exceed's team beat them like 250-0 in a scrim, I was hearing some of the things that Fire 40 was like saying after the fact on stream, and I was like, man, this guy's a good story, bro. I know this guy's probably a hungry guy, and if given an opportunity, he'd be able to succeed. Something to think about. And he proved to be very good on the flex this year in like the second AR role. Had a pretty good KD. He was like over like a 1.0. Not sure if he was at a 1.1, but proved to be very good. And then I'm going to throw some EU sleepers, okay? Some EU sleepers, okay? You guys are going to have to walk with me. You got to do your research. So one of these players there isn't much research on, but it's 19-year-old Fabron from France. I saw some EU Challenger stuff like near the beginning of the season when they're actually showing it. And he's 19 with a lot of potential. And I would have to watch more gameplay on him, but from what I see, he's a pretty like fucking fast AR that's capable of getting kills. So that's just a random shot out there. I don't see Ultra taking that chance because not enough VOD on him to watch, and I don't think he played like the second half of the year. But 19 years old, hopefully he plays next year and shows more of what he's capable of. Another guy in EU Challengers who there's more VOD on is Pac or Pac, what like whatever. Um, Also a pretty decent Slayer. I think he was like averaging just above like a 1.0 in respawn in EU Challengers. I mean, it's not anything crazy, but I see potential in a player that could get kills, and maybe if you put him in another good environment like Ultra, I mean, could succeed. And then another random shoutout. This is a random shoutout. Is a guy named KB. He played on Cabal. In Challengers, he had a 1.13 in Hardpoint this Challengers season, and that was like in the NA side too, because Cabal is like a North American team. He's Colombian, and he was born in Canada, I think. So, I mean, could be something to look out there in like the flex role. I mean, if you're looking for like the next up and comer, super young, he's like 19, 20 as well. Also, something to look out for. And I was thinking, like, if Joe gets dropped, this is just random now. It's me yapping before the end of the video. If Joe gets dropped, actually, I'm gonna make that a different video. I'm gonna make it like a different video. But Beans needs to be faster, needs to be a little bit less methodical, needs to be more kill oriented. Because something that Ultra does not need is more like methodicalness to their gameplay. Like they need more kills on the map because they sincerely lack it in insight because he's a slower player, does more for the team in other aspects. So someone needs to pick up more in the kills department. That needs to be Beans. He cannot be methodical, playing more calculated like insight. He needs to be more aggressive on the AR, and he needs to prove more worth and respawn and help this team. Like, if he's firing all cylinders and Joe's firing all cylinders and Cleanup's firing all cylinders, they should be able to fry, but hasn't been able to pull it out all year. So let me know in the comments what you think about Beans. Yeah, let me know what you think. Curious to see how he does at Champs. I'm not expecting much from Ultra, to be honest, if we're being frank. If they come out to win fucking Champs, then I guess I'm deleting this video, but I could put my fucking rent on it that that's not happening. So, with that being said, this has been the video. Probably gonna do some more player talks, more like just like conversation settings like this. But let me know your thoughts on Beans in the comments. And this has been Burrito. We'll catch you in the next one. See ya. Still sick, by the way, too.